You know that feeling? The one where you know your whole life is about to change, but you're standing there, not sure if it's for the better or for the worse. It's a funny thing. Life, how you can be in VY Cyber 1 second, and then, just like that, the spotlight is on you. But sometimes, that spotlight can feel a lot more like a trap than a prize. I'll never forget the first time I walked into Roth and Maven Designs. I wasn't dressed in a fancy suit or anything like that. No, I had dust on my shoes, calluses on my hands, and a folded piece of paper in my grip. It wasn't much. It wasn't even what you'd call a portfolio, just one sketch. One design, the kind of thing you'd see from someone who loved buildings, loved how they moved with light, loved how they had a story to tell that wasn't written on their walls. I wasn't there to ask for much, just a chance. But when I stepped through those doors, I didn't know it was going to feel like the whole world was laughing at me. Simone Blake was the first person I saw when I walked in. She was sitting at the front desk, typing away at her computer, eyes flicking up to me just long enough to see a girl who didn't belong in a place like this. I could feel her gaze, that look of judgment, before she even opened her mouth. "We're not hiring janitors," she said, rolling her eyes. I wasn't sure if she was talking to me or talking about me. The receptionist barely glanced at me, just dismissed me in one go, as if my very presence was a joke. And for a second, I almost turned around and walked right back out. But I didn't. I stood my ground. My hands were shaking, but I wasn't about to let anyone see it. I stepped forward, voice trembling a little as I said, "I saw the design internship online. I wanted to apply. Here's my work." I extended the paper, that crumpled sketch of mine. My pride, my passion, all wrapped up in one piece of folded paper. Simone took one glance. One. It was the kind of glance that only someone who thought they were better could give. It wasn't just a look. It was a look that cut through everything. She didn't even try to hide her disdain. "You're joking, right?" She laughed, not the kind of laugh that was for fun, but the kind that was meant to tear someone down. "We're not hiring street artists. This is a Fortune 500 company, not some high school art fair." The room was quiet for a moment, like the air had been sucked out of it. But then, as I turned around to leave, I could hear the quiet chuckles from the assistants behind me, the soft mutterings that made me feel smaller with every step I took. I wasn't good enough. That's what they were saying. And for a moment, it stung like nothing else ever had. But here's the thing that they didn't know. While I was being laughed at in the lobby, someone was watching. Alexander Roth, the CEO of Roth and Maven Designs, was standing just behind tinted glass, hidden from VYEW. He was walking through the private corridor, a few steps from the reception desk, when something about the way Simone laughed made him pause. His gaze shifted from her to me, and then, for the first time, his attention was on something other than the reception desk. He noticed the paper in my hand, the sketch, the one that Simone had tossed aside like it was trash. He leaned in, and his eyes locked onto the corner of that paper, the corner that had peeled up just enough to reveal what I had drawn. Lines so precise, so fluid, they reminded him of something. A legend, maybe. Something raw, untaught. A VY sound not captured from a textbook, but from somewhere deeper, more genuine. And right there, as he stood frozen in place, he knew something. He pressed a button on his earpiece, his voice cold and direct. "Security, pull the lobby cam footage. Send it to my office and find out who that girl is." The moment he spoke, everything shifted. Back at the front desk, I was still holding that paper, still reeling from the mockery, from the humiliation that cut deeper than any rejection I'd ever faced. I turned slowly, ready to leave, feeling every ounce of shame that came with walking out of a place I knew I didn't belong. But what I didn't know was this. The door had already cracked open. Something had shifted behind the glass walls. And someone had seen Minute for what I wore, not for the way I looked, but for what I could do. As I stepped outside, clutching my sketch like it was the last piece of my dignity, I felt the weight of everything. The city, the cars, the people they passed by like I was in VY Cyber. And maybe, for that moment, I was. The paper in my hand shook with more than just the wind. It shook with rejection, with the sting of trying too hard in a world that was built to keep people like me out. But inside that building, something was happening. In his office, Alexander Roth was watching the footage, replaying it over and over. He saw Simone laughing. He saw me, the nervous girl with the crumpled paper, stepping forward with so much hope. And then he saw her laugh, tossing my work aside. He didn't need to be told anything else. This was no ordinary rejection. His jaw tightened. This wasn't just about one sketch. This was about something much bigger. "Find her," he said, his voice firm. "I want her in my office by tomorrow morning. I don't care how long it takes or what it costs." And with that, everything changed. The next morning, I was sitting at a bus stop, staring at the screen of my cracked phone. My hands were shaking as I read the message. Over and over, Con VY and said it was some kind of mistake. "Hi, this is Jordan Vega from Roth and Maven. Mr. Roth would like to meet you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. He saw your sketch. Transportation will be arranged." I couldn't believe it. Not in a million years. I had been laughed at, rejected, mocked. But now the CEO of one of the most respected design companies in the world wanted to meet me? Me? I read the message again and again. My heart was racing. Tears filled my eyes, not from sadness, but disbelief. It wasn't a mistake. It was real. I had a chance, and it was happening. The next morning, I walked back into that building. But this time, it felt different. The shoes were still scuffed. My jacket still had the stains from yesterday. But now, I walked in with something else. Something I had never felt before. Possibility. The receptionist froze when she saw me. Simone's smile faltered, and for the first time, she looked unsure. The girl she had mocked the day before now stood taller, holding the same sketch, but this time with an official VY Cider badge clipped to her collar. 2 security officers flanked me. Simone opened her mouth, but no words came out. I didn't look back. I couldn't. I rode the elevator up. No more nerves. No more doubt. When the doors opened, I was led into an office so modern and sleek, it looked like it belonged in a design magazine. There he was, Alexander Roth, standing next to a polished desk. My sketch was laid out in front of him. "You drew this?" he asked. His voice was steady, but his gaze was intense. I nodded. "Yes." "You didn't trace this? Not copied?" "No," I said softly. "It's all original." He stared at me for a long moment. Then he asked, "Where did you learn to draw like this?" I hesitated. "Nowhere. I just watched buildings, studied how they bent in the light, tried to sketch how they felt, not just how they looked." He leaned back, pausing for a moment before sliding a folder across the desk. "This isn't an inter-VYEW. This is an offer." My heart stopped. "What?" "A full paid mentorship. Access to our studio, our team. If you want it, it's yours." I could barely breathe. I reached for the paper, but my hands were trembling. "But I didn't go to college. I have no qualifications." He looked me in the eyes. "You have something better. Vision." Tears welled in my eyes. I blinked them away. This wasn't a dream. This was real. This was everything. Simone, downstairs, was still staring up at the elevator display, unaware that her mockery had launched a legend. And me? I wasn't in VY Cybele anymore. I wasn't just the girl with the sketch. I was someone who had earned a place at the table. Later that day, in Studio B, the whispers started. "She's working directly under Mr. Roth." One designer, Theo, stepped forward. "You drew the Roth spiral redesign, right?" "That was you." I nodded. "Yeah, it was just a rough sketch." Theo shook his head. "It was brilliant. And for the first time, I didn't feel like a girl pretending to belong. I felt like someone who was needed. Someone who had something to offer." I started working. Right away. I didn't hesitate when I was asked to contribute. And when I did, the room went silent. My design left everyone speechless. Clean. Visionary. Original. Alexander watched, arms folded, studying me. And in that moment, I knew. I had earned my place. So to all those who laughed, who said I wasn't enough, this is for you. Because now, I'm walking into a future no one had ever seen coming. And if you think this is just the beginning, wait until you see what happens next. What do you think? Can someone like Laya rise against all the odds? Do you believe that raw, unpolished talent can be recognized even when others turn their backs on it? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more incredible stories like this one.